amazing performance. I'd like to bring out two of the stars of After the Hunt. The first being, he played Frederick, Michael Stuhlbarg. And next, let me see. Oh, she played Alma, Julia Roberts. Okay, so first of all, congratulations. I've got a lot of burning questions.
Does anybody have a screwdriver? That's my question. This might not end well.
First, I want to, since we've all just seen the movie, and all the scenes are fresh in our heads.
We're going to pass out martinis. I wish I could do that. I'm so sorry that was on.
Milk and cookies.
Somehow you make milk and cookies really scary.
Sinister.
I know.
Come closer to our right.
Are you trying to get away from me?
I wasn't necessarily trying to get away from you, but I wanted to be closer to him, and now we're here and you're there.
Okay, good. It's just a benefit. So, since we've all just seen the movie, and all of the scenes are fresh in our minds, some really sticking with us, I want to ask both of you, is there a favorite scene or a scene that you feel like just really works well? It can be something you're in or something you're not in, just a scene from the movie that you feel is a home run.
Well, you can't say something you're in or not in, because then if I pick a scene I'm in, I sound like a narcissist.
Okay, Julia Roberts, a scene that you're in.
One of my favorite scenes that I was in, that I enjoyed, because I think it's the only time in the movie that my character is happy, is in the bar with Andrew when we're sort of day drinking and playing the coaster flip thing.
Is that a thing?
It's
The coaster flip?
Andrew taught it to me that day, and I was quite good at it.
I noticed you were left-handed also.
I am left-handed, yes.
Michael, scene?
The scene that Julia was in, where she did that thing. Oh my God! I couldn't get over it. Every time I see it, I see another color. It was wonderful. Everything she did now. Silly. Honestly, I find new things in every scene in the film whenever I get to see it again. I have very fond feelings for the party scene at the beginning, because I didn't know what it was going to be, and that dialogue can be quite cryptic. You know, sort of like, okay, you're going into a philosophy argument of something, now what do I do? And it was great to add some whimsy to it. I didn't know what we were going to do, how it was going to be staged, how it was going to be pieced together, and it was interesting to feel it out. I guess I remember the fondness of finding the fun in that scene. Is that an okay answer?
It's a great answer.
I think it's a great answer. It was better than my answer. I'll be going second from now on. That was also one of the first scenes we shot.
Yeah, that's why probably, because it was like diving in.
Getting to know you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, as a viewer, what's really remarkable about that scene when you're watching it is you realize Frederick is her husband. You get that. And then suddenly you're watching your wife with Andrew Garfield on the sofa, their legs open toward each other, her hand on his leg, and you think, what is going on here?
Jess Cagle, my legs were not open.
Well,
Not on the screen.
Crossed. Can we play it back?
Let's go to
you're right, my mistake.
play back, please.
a little handsy.
A little, yeah. You were closer to him than you are to me right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. When you first got the script of this, what intrigued you? What made you think, oh, this is something I want to do?
Michael, go first.
Michael, you.
Honestly, anything that Luca wants me to be a part of, I'm there, because what I've learned in the few collaborations we've had is that whatever you think it's going to be, it ain't going to be that. In other words, there might be some dryness on the page. You might think, okay, this is one thing, and then he'll throw you a curveball that completely upends your idea of what it is. And that's great. You know, in this case, he said I'm something like the heart of the story, even though I'm not in a lot of the story. And to get a chance to be surprised, you know. I was having a conversation earlier today, and then someone asked about a moment, and then I said I didn't calculate that particular moment. It just happened because the circumstances were set up. And oftentimes, if I ever try to make something happen, it never works. But if you set up the circumstances and you get to play with kids like this, it's like, you never know what you're going to do. And that's kind of my philosophy of getting to do this kind of work to begin with, is throw yourself into it, and if you surprise yourself, you'll surprise everybody else, and just hope they capture it. You know, at least that's the way I like to think of it, but it can also be a really technical exercise sometimes too. But that's just the starting point of working with Luca. It's always thorough. They've been thinking about it for years. And that kind of stuff also is a treat when you show up to these rooms and there's every photograph, every painting, every prop, everything has been considered. And in this case, you're shooting New Haven on a soundstage in London, where they built the Beinecke Library from Yale, they built the Tandoori restaurant, they built the CVS. All of that is built on a soundstage. So they bring this stuff to life. You walk in, you don't have to do anything, you know? And that's...
We did a little.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Julia, what did you think of Alma in your first take of her?
I just thought, oh my God. Well, I don't know, she's so cold and intimidating, and I just thought, oh, how exhausting and impossible to be this person. And, you know, she speaks in this sort of smarty pants language that, you know, I just thought, I can't do that. That's too hard. And then Luca was like, do you want to do this? I said, yeah. Yeah. I didn't even hesitate. Because he is to get the opportunity to be part of how his mind works. I mean, Michael knows so well, having worked with him so many times, but just to be, you know, to kind of hitch my wagon to his for this was spectacular.
How well did you two know each other, if at all, before you?
We had never met.
Never met.
And what kind of exercises did you guys go through, or did you go through any to talk about these two people and the history of their relationship? Because so many things in the script are left for you to wonder. So did you guys discuss or sort of make up your own backstories for this relationship? Did you talk to Luca or Nora, the screenwriter, to get it?
Tell him about your emails, Michael.
Okay. This is kind of where I start with everything, is writing out a million questions.
He's
And
serious. It's almost a million.
questions. Yeah. And you hope to get answers for these things, but oftentimes you don't. And Julia opened her home up to the cast to come and start to ask questions like that. I was unavailable at the time. I was doing a play, so I couldn't join them.
Broadway.
And actually, okay.
Nominated for a Tony.
Okay. stuff. But to be honest with you, I think it served me in an odd way to not be a part of all of that, because I'm not really a part of the entanglement of these three characters at the meat of the story. And in some ways, and then they started, if I remember correctly, you guys went straight to Cambridge and shot a lot of the classroom scenes. Those were shot in Cambridge. And so I was in London asking Luca a million more questions and trying to get answers, but of course he's really busy. So it all spins around in my head, and honestly, the anticipation, and finally, you learn a lot just by doing. And I think in some ways it served us to have the distance, to not answer a bunch of questions, because in the end, listening to all of you, you all have different perspectives of what it is you see anyway. So whatever our answers might have been, it doesn't really matter. And I don't know if it really, I don't know. I feel like you're thrown into a bed in pajamas with Julia Roberts. You're gonna feel some things. I didn't mean that the way it came out. That was, I think, one of our first scenes. It was like, okay, you're in bed, go. Okay. Which is kind of like how Call Me By Your Name started. That's what he did with Timothy and Army. It's the same thing. Okay, go and make out there, and they, as a rehearsal kind of a thing. And then they got into it, and then they turned around after a number of minutes had gone by, and Luca was gone. And they learned something from doing that. Anyway, you learn by doing, and I'm learning a bunch of things now.
I'm so crazy about him.
What, Julia, in your mind, because it's one of the things we're not told specifically in the film, out of many things, but in your mind, when she clearly had some kind of affair with Hank at some point in the past, why didn't she leave Frederick for Hank?
That's a very personal question,
It really
Jess.
is.
And I don't know if you've noticed who's sitting right next to me.
What happened?
I am not comfortable.
But I'm just so curious to know how that has impacted the relationship of these two people, because they're very committed to the marriage.
We
in
are
their own
super
way.
committed, yeah. Well, I think that's what's so fascinating, and really when Luca says that Michael and his portrayal of Frederick is the heart of the movie, I always felt that Frederick is the thing that keeps Alma tethered to the earth, and that left to her own devices, she really would unravel. That Frederick is the thing that keeps her in a way, and his completely unconditional love is that is the primus bond that nobody will ever replace. Nobody, not even Hank, and whatever that is, was, or lingers around as, it's still not. Nothing is ever going to replace this thing.
Do you come up with deep backstories of your characters?
Maybe it's because it's Sunday. Everything to me is a joke right now. I'm trying so hard to be serious. I don't know if you guys noticed, like, in the middle of that last answer, I was like, and I'm serious. And I'm a serious actor.
She's hoping to finally get her SAG card.
That Taft-Hartley has just expanded over time. Yeah, we have a backstory, and some things, as Michael was saying, some things we did talk about and we sort of made decisions about together. Some things we decided separately or with Luca. Some things you think and then especially our scenes, I felt like were the most freestyle. I know nothing about Frederick and Alma feels freestyle, but we did kind of, I mean, also, Michael coming in and out of that kitchen. That's kind of the stuff that dreams are made of. And honestly, that's some of my better acting, because broom.
Yeah, Michael. But the most burning question is, what was the push broom for?
Yeah.
Don't you want to know? I have no idea.
You're just told to pick
And
up
if
a
I
push
did, I would not tell you. To be honest with you, that's Luca. That is 1,000% Luca. That is him saying, okay, no, grab the broom. Honestly, it's all sort of like...
But then you did the flourish at the end, which is like, I got the broom.
Yeah,
as
it's
if
sort of
that
like
made
saying,
sense.
no. Well, you know, you just sort of go with it, and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's like, you know, I've also been told before, when you do that kind of thing, that's terrible. Start over again. Do it this way. You know, and that also is another way to work. No, but it's a pure collaboration and fun. You know, it's like I didn't know I was going to do that at the beginning of the day.
What was it like, or how did it help you? Especially because I think that I don't know that we're told this in the film, but maybe I read it in the production notes, that the apartment that Frederick and Alma live in is where he grew up.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's stated specifically, but
No.
it must have been, when you got to that set, you saw so many clues about who this guy was. Must have been fascinating.
Well, honestly, I asked all those thousands of questions, and I asked Luca involved a lot about my grandparents who lived in that space before I did, and about their history in Germany, and about their involvement with the Bauhaus movement, and about the artistry and stuff. You know, the photographs that they placed all over the place. These were actual photographs of the people who my grandparents knew, what their involvement in architecture was. All this just layered stuff that you're never gonna know, you know, or that I'm never gonna get a chance to refer to. But honestly, that's part of the fun of what we get to do, is to texture that stuff in and layer it, and you never know if it's ever gonna come up or not. And it might feel like it's a waste, but it's not. Because when when he says you're going to wear this black suit and these shoes, and you sort of piece together, oh, okay, my grandparents were involved with this kind of movement, and in a way, it all kind of fits together. And just knowing that those things are around you allows you in many ways to own what you're doing in a very deep way. Whereas if you're not a part of all that stuff, or they don't let you in to knowing about those kinds of things, you're all on your own. And it never felt like that. And you never know what's going to ground you, whether it's a pair of shoes, or an individual, or a picture on the wall that you may happen to glance at, or something that puts you in a headspace that gets you into the story you're telling. So every element feeds what we do. I mean, even that micro moment of, her name escapes me at the moment, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. The woman who plays the housekeeper, who is so dear. We move this enormous platter together, just in the middle of the table. And Luca says, okay, now you're going to move this platter onto the table. So, whoa, okay, ready, go. And it's woven into the tapestry. You sort of think, when she was sick, I imagine she and I did so many things around the house to look out for her. It's just another thing of putting things back to where they were when everyone left the room. That. And all of a sudden, who knows what it adds to our our minds, our picture of the story we're watching. And those things are scattered throughout, and I forget about them, but they're there. And if you go back and you sort of think, I didn't remember that the first time, oh, that stuff is cinema in its best thing, you know, its best evocative, timeless elements. I don't know. You can do that in a movie. You can't do it in a play.
Julia, I feel like one of the keys to Alma and who she is and where she is in her life now is she makes a very brief mention. I had an extended absence from my career at a certain time. And obviously she's dealing with, we realize, ulcers now. But what was the ailment or situation in your mind, or what might it have been, that derailed her several years earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't necessarily matter, but we had talked about it and decided that I had cancer, and that it, you know, and I think the important part of it for us, if I may, was that, you know, this is just another example of Frederick's endurance and care and love of Alma, because not only was I very sick and he took care of me, and I was out of work for so long that when I came back to work, I was sort of starting over. And there he is again, taking, after putting me back together, then takes the back seat to me kind of going back to work and ramping back up to the position that I had before I became ill.
Out of the many things that you leave the movie wondering, what's up with these two is just top of mind, and it's so fun to listen to the two of you talk about these characters, which are really incredible. Congratulations.